This tutorial is on Lightly Row. Lightly Row is the second song in the first Suzuki book, and if you're starting with these pieces, then you can be encouraged to know that it will take you much less time to learn Lightly Row than it did all the Twinkle variations and the Twinkle theme. Now the highlights of Lightly Row are we get to now play the A scale in an ascending pattern. Okay, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, we learned that descending A scale first. We had a descending sequence of notes, and now we get to ascend. Ascending is actually easier than descending. And in Twinkle Twinkle, every single note was stepwise. That means every single note we either move up a step or down a step. Okay, or we say scalar. That means we're going up and down the scale. And now we have some skips where we skip over an adjacent note to get to another note. So let's look at a couple of these things. So first we start with a skip. We go from the E to the second finger. Now you've already practiced going from E to the third finger, so this really isn't anything difficult, it isn't anything new, but we do want to make sure we have the proper placement of that second finger. So before you start, especially in the beginning, just kind of map out your pitches to start. So we're using that first finger spacing pattern. So let's go ahead and find the notes of the ascending scale, which are actually the very notes in the third measure of Lightly Row. So we're going to play A, and you can use your beloved rhythm if you want to, variation A rhythm, to find these notes at first. Sometimes it's a little easier to do something that's familiar. Okay, so there are my notes. I'm not pressing all those notes down at the same time. I just have my fingers in the right spots, making sure that my thumb is nice and loose. So my second finger here is on the C sharp. So this is the note I start with, or the finger, the first note where we actually add a finger. So now we're going to have to cross over to that note. We start on the open E. But you might want to be safe. You might want to have that finger already pressed down. If that's the case, you run the danger of your finger actually touching the E string. So you may get an awful squeak if you do that. And if you ever get that, it usually means that that your finger is barely touching that string, and it's actually just creating a harmonic. It's a very high frequency. So we have to start with our fingers off the string, but we want that second finger to be very close to the note, very close to the target, so that we're sort of guaranteeing good intonation. So we start with a string crossing. So as we play the E string, we're already thinking about changing our arm level to the A string. And now we add third finger. And now we walk up the scale. Okay, and that's essentially the piece. Okay, at the very end, we have this pattern, which is a triad. It's actually a little mini arpeggio. So we play A, C sharp, E. So second finger kind of gets a workout on this song. Now I want to bring up another a bowing issue, and this is bow distribution. Okay, so when we talk about bow distribution, we're talking about how much bow we use and where in the bow we're using it. And so for this song, what I want you to be aware of is really apportioning your bow in the right places. So we're going to start near the hand. We're going to actually start at the frog, and we're going to use half the bow. And now we have a half note. Now we're going to use all the bow. Okay, and the next two notes, now we're at the tip. We're going to divide the bow in half. We're going to stick now to the upper half. Half note, we're going to use the whole bow again. Okay, so it looks like this. And now you're you're not going to probably be all the way to the frog. So when I say whole bow, I just mean a longer bow. But we're going to probably come down to about a quarter of the way from the hand and then play the scale. Kind of using about that middle third. Okay, and then all the bows. So I hope I'm not confusing anyone talking about, the parts of the bow dividing in half into thirds, but it's good to start being able to visualize dividing the bow into parts, into fractions. Sometimes we use a half the bow from here. Sometimes we use this half. Sometimes we divide the bow into 3 parts. We operate in the middle third, the upper third, the lower third, and these are things even in professional situations we talk about. There'll be a question, what part of the bow do we use? Someone would say lower half, upper half, middle third, upper third, lower third. So knowing where we need to be in the bow is important. So that's what you get to work on with this song.